Well, it's time for week 3 of NSE Summer 25. So I'm Frostix, joined by Sasu. If I'm being honest, we've been like digging deep into a lot of our casters' notes and a lot of like this slideshow that we've been handedly given by the lovely people over here at Dapple Twitch. And like you've probably seen in the pre-show, up on week 3's matchup is Portsmouth Beach episode. I'm sorry, any UK residents if I butchered that city's name, and Uowawa.
Yeah, Uowawa, I think, is our current reigning champs in terms of the spring and last winter as well. This is extremely exciting having this sort of collegiate level scuffle here. I think Splatoon came out while I was in college, so there certainly was not a league going on when that was for me. But I think we have collegiate level players. Some of them are alumni as well.
Yeah.
And for those of you just joining, maybe you haven't been keeping up with the weeks, much like the qualifiers for Worlds from Nintendo. I think this is a best of 5, but the sort of trick to that first point is you get it via a best of 3. It's like Inception, almost. A best of 3 via Turf Wars. So I'm super excited to see this because I don't think I've ever gotten to see competitive Turf War up close, Frostix.
We're diving straight into the Turf War right now. Is that a tent I see on Tabri here on the other team? I think that's Wawa. Now, what are we seeing? We're seeing, that's the custom Rapid Blast. No, not custom Rapid. Yeah, see, like the custom Rapid Blaster Pro on the side of Wawa. Meanwhile, Portsmouth Beach episode running an arrow spray on their lineup as well. I think of maybe synonymous Turf War weapon, if I'd say so myself.
Yeah, actually, interestingly enough, we are seeing a Rapid on both teams, which I didn't expect to see, given, Rapid's propensity to not put down pay, but already you see a wipeout in right before the 30-second mark. I'm sorry. This is Turf. So it has only been 30 minutes. I looked up and I saw 2:30 and I was like, wait, where did half the game go? But yeah, as you can see, Uowawa, I think, goes down fairly quickly, but they're right back up, but not before losing another member there, you see, with that Reef Slider. And interestingly, I feel like when it comes to Turf, you're usually seeing a Reflex, and despite that new Reflex being out, neither of these teams choosing to go with those.
Yeah, no presence of the Milk Lux, no Beef Lux present here on Robo Robin, but already right down, Uowawa is 3 down. Portsmouth Beach episode is charging up their specials. Dude has another Reef Slider ready to go. That's just what Aerospray can do, and I think they're already eyeing the court, zooming past elbow. That Reef Slider is coming in hot, but they get canceled out by that Dreadringer. Now Portsmouth is 2 members down. Sneaky's trying to hold down the chip, getting rid of Pick. Maybe one more on that Dread if they can land the angle. They do have that cooler ready to go as well, probably allowing J-Blast to have a little bit more hydration because they're kind of isolated right now. But now Uowawa is striking back with the Crab as well as the Tri-Strike, already getting rid of J-Blast. Tabri's launching out the 10 shield, and Uowawa just has so much space right now. They're already past mid, moving through elbow. That Restarter's coming out of here, but no value so far. We're about to reach 1 minute left on the clock, Sasu.
Yeah, Portsmouth Beach episode definitely getting pushed back after a dominant opening. As you remember, this is indeed Turf, so all of that pressure they put on, not going to count for anything, unfortunately. Not to mention that they've neglected, I think, in trying to sort of spawn camp them, they've neglected to paint their own part of spawn. So they still have some painting maybe to get down there, other than just pushing into mid. And you see 2 of their members already go down. This tent a little bit trapped, having a lot of difficulty moving around. But now with 30 seconds left, as they say, Frostix, these are the only parts of a Turf War that truly matter.
I mean, they play now or never for a reason right now, because look at the map right now. Predominantly orange. The Tri-Strike's coming out from Mess here. Already that Aerospray is down. J-Blast is trying to get a break into mid, but they're called out by the Dreadringer. The pick is closing in on their location. J-Blast will be able to take out the Dreadringer. Tabri is trying to take the fight here, but right now, Uwawawa just has so much space to their hands. There's only 3 seconds left on the clock. That's not left to do anything, and that is the game. And now for the ultimate decision, what will the Cats say? And it's orange, which means Uwawawa will take game number 1 of the Turf War segment of this best of 5 set.
You know, I'd argue it's one of those cases we just got out of a Splatfest where, unfortunately, you can kind of eyeball it and call it where you're like, Judd, we got this, Judd. You don't necessarily have to tell us, like, GG, go next. I think we're going to get a counter pick now on Turf. Because the first one is predetermined, and I think Uwawawa showing why they are the reigning champs with an early lead to, how do I put this? It's not set point. It's like point.
Section points? Phase points?
Yeah, for 1 point. They're on like a set point for this 1 point.
Oh, okay. So
they're about
set
to
points.
Win the set for this point.
We're still trying to wrap our heads around this.
And you know, we'll see if they're able to wrap their heads around playing Turf here on Mahi. Usually I'm so used to the on Mahi Turf War. Even more interestingly, obviously, I don't necessarily play Turf War all that often, and I imagine that these teams probably don't as well. Sometimes you get a little bit jump scared by what a map looks like in Turf, because you're just not necessarily so used to it. But I imagine these teams have been practicing, getting the work in to make sure that doesn't happen. But of course, around, when is it, halfway through, that Mahi will change and give more Turf to be inked.
Yeah, I think just Mahi's like between its ranked form and its Turf War form. It's a pretty drastic switch up here. Normally, I think teams that are playing at maybe a competitive level would anticipate Mahi switching, the water level in Mahi dropping around the 60 tick mark here, but in Turf War, it's like you said, Sasu, the water level will drop around halfway through the match, so I think that's going to be around maybe 2 minutes 30? 2 minutes 30, give and or take. And also, I think just the overall terrain of Mahi Mahi
that
is going to be a little
30
bit
because Turf is 3 minutes long.
A minute 30. Okay, me when I lie.
Listen, we're all getting used to it here, but I'm definitely excited, and I'm also curious as to why Mahi in particular was picked as that counter pick. If there's anything in their wheelhouse that they're saying, listen, we saw you run this special, and that special is just dog water. No pun intended on Mahi Turf, but yeah, interested to see also if we're going to be seeing better painting weapons as well, because I find that Portsmouth Beach episode was actually they were doing a lot of the fighting, but it seemed as though some of the Turf inking kind of fell to the wayside for them, because even when they were super dominant in mid and sort of spawn camping, their own side of the map wasn't really painted, Frostix.
I mean, exactly. Of course, painting is the name of the game when it comes to Turf War. You don't want to forget about your spawn. I feel like I'm right back to my Splatoon 1 self, posting stuff on Miiverse, but you just have to at least keep the paint up. Of course, having control of the tempo of the game with, like, say, picks, and it just allows you to have that space, so that way, if you're just keeping the enemy team at bay in their own spawn, I think like what Portsmouth was doing in maybe that first half of the Robo Ramen game, then it'll just allow maybe some other members of the team to entirely focus on just making sure that the rest of the map is painted, spawn included. But I don't think you have any more time left to analyze how things will go down, because it's time for action. Welcome to Mahi Mahi Turf War.
Yeah, and remember, we are at set point for this first point with, of course, Uwawawa at advantage. They've won the first game, so they're looking to close this out with a second win here. But of course, I think we're seeing just about No changes on either side. We have a very dominant Barazushi comp there once again with that Aerospray and an early downing on that T-Tech on the side of Uowawa.
Also, I do want to point out, though, here, the Splattershot pros have come out in spades. There's one instance of that Frozen Pro on both Portsmouth and Uowawa, and right now, Uowawa is 2 members down. We're seeing Mess trying to thrive in mid here, but of course the water level is still up, and the verticality here is massive, so you have a lot of vantage point, but you also have the opportunity to potentially fall off. No! Mess! Taking a dip into the water. I mean, it's summer, but you don't want to fall into the water in Splatoon.
Yeah, absolutely not the time to take a cooling little dip. Hopefully they got the little vacation that they needed and they are back in it. Noticeably, when I saw the map, it seemed like Beach Episode, once again, maybe opting not to immediately paint everything. You see that top left not painted. Perhaps they're leaving it there for if they need special later, but that later may be now. You see Uowawa getting the picks that they need along with those tri-strikes to take a lot of space, but with 2 of their members going down, and I think on the horizon we're about to see that water level drop and a lot more turf come into play here. Both of these teams are going to have to stabilize, get this mid, and set themselves up so when that last 30 seconds happens, they're well poised to be able to take the game.
A lot more space opening up. I'm definitely going to see that roller probably play a lot better. Here comes the Reef-Slider from that Aerospray. No targets claimed, and they're getting immediately punished because Portsmouth is 2 members down consistently here. Pick is just laying down the chip here, trying to cheese out with the angles here. I think that's Tabri trying to make their statement here. The space is opened up. That tent shield could be very useful, but they're going down to more chip from Uowawa. The strikes are coming out from Mess. Pick as well as RK are moving in. Pick's going down, and that roller is going to have a time of their life being able to shark for all they want to here. We're approaching the 30-second mark, very close. Here comes the Reef-Slider again. No target. Oh no, they do get rid of the roller at least. This is now Portsmouth's last shots to potentially get this map back.
Absolutely. This is going to be possibly one of the last pushes, so to speak, that they may have available. Of course, you have that sort of ring around the rosy that we just saw with that pro, just trying to get the pick. 19 seconds left. Getting those picks are going to be absolutely critical. 2 members down on each side there, and you see that the Rapid is just trying to keep and hold its space. It can't quite get that paint down. It is going to go down. So right now, it is just everyone desperately seeing to see how much paint they can get there at the end. Members down on Peach Episode, but we'll see what Judd has to say.
What will the cat say once more? And whoa, that looks pretty blue, Sasu. And that is another flag from Lil Judd, which means Uowawa is gonna take the set? Yeah, 2 of them, right?
The point, if anything.
The point, the point.
In the best of 5. And, you know, it seemed a little bit closer there. I think that maybe at the very end, Portsmouth Beach Episode just kind of put that paint down. It was so neatly painted, likely from their Aerospray, but just wasn't enough. I think 2 of their members went down in the final 15 seconds or so, and once again we all just came out of that Splatfest. That can be the nail in your coffin to just not be alive in that final 15 seconds.
Oh no, we're getting Mess tipping in the pool in live at 4K resolution. Even still, weapons like, I'd say, T-Tech and like the Splattershot pros that were on both sides here, they're good for just laying down paint, like very consistent paint, and those specials very good at just maintaining both displacement, but also just paint as well. Paint's, of course, the name of the game. But I think that's probably all we're seeing from Turf War for this set, because from this point onward, the remaining games are counterpick ranked modes in a set order. Now, what was the set order again? Oh, here we go. Clamblitz, then TC, then Zones, then Rainmaker.
Yes, it is also on screen. Of course, we're seeing the shifty stations because I believe they have the opportunity to counterpick. So it is likely Portsmouth Beach Episode's pick as to what exactly they want to go there with clams. And now that we're out of turf, I'm curious if we're going to see a complete overhaul on these comps, if they're going to say, all right, just kidding. Like, let's bring out our more competitive weapons that aren't necessarily about painting the map, especially because we saw that arrow spray. Or if they're gonna go, okay, let's lock in here. Here's the pencil. Here's the more conventional comp for this clams game. Or do you think they just kind of said, like, screw it, we ball, and went their more competitive things for their turf war?
I have no idea, because according to, at least when it comes down to the caster's notes here, already one thing that we may know for sure, J-Blast, or Jess as we know them here, they were running both the new L3 as well as, I think this is the Frozen Pro here, but it says on the notes that they also have the Custom Blaster in their back pocket here. They have a penchant for getting picks. I mean, what can't that Custom Blaster do here? Of course, chipping away from angles, over walls, and that triple splashdown, just finishing the job whenever necessary here. On the other side, on Uowawa here, their key player is listed as Kildy, who's primarily playing Dreadringer. I think we saw that Dreadringer from Uowawa come out on Roboramen here, and at least 2 out of the 3 Dreadringer kits are really solid here. Slider Dread good for zones, and the new Horns Dreadringer good on a variety of modes, clams included.
Dread D found dead in a ditch.
Sorry, Dread D.
I think that there was a pick to Inkblot clams that we're going to be seeing coming up, and I'm curious to see if we will see indeed that custom blaster. I see a lot of blaster players prefer in this particular map mode to run it, because when you have what I tend to call rats in your basement, aka when people are in your bats, in your court on a place like Inkblot, where you just have to get rid of all of them and get them out of there before they really chew through your wires and do all of that damage. Something like a splashdown while everyone's trying to just Hail Mary those clams into the basket can be so useful. Along with the fact that this is a very, very vertical map. So
there it is.
Speak of the devil, there it is. Along with, I think, other small tweaks here for the more competitive mode, Frosted.
Yeah. Definitely so, but we're seeing Tabri still stick with that tent here, and it's obviously pretty good, at least to potentially shield a push going into Clan Blitz, but already Tabri is going to be the first blood of this match right now. Of course, when it comes down to Clan Blitz, early game is all about collection, ensuring that the economy and the clan economy is just in your favor here. J-Blast is already moving in, Rats be in your basement here, and already being able to cancel out that crab, but meanwhile they're going to get traded out by that Rapid Pro here. The sliders coming out, lands another direct from this Rapid here, and I think already Uowawa is starting to trickle forward here, even when they are 3 members down. Rapid trying to make a bold play in, at least they will be traded out. There's 2 members down on Portsmouth here. Right now, at least Uowawa has more of the clans right now, as a ball has just been created.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Portsmouth Beach episode has changed from that Rapid over to Pencil. Very interesting, seeing as though, if anything in turf, you would think you'd want more paint on that ground rather than playing that Rapid. But I think Uowawa has said, you are a fake Rapid pan. We are still going Rapid here. But we'll see how effective that Rapid is, seeing as though Uowawa right now on the back foot, and there is that splashdown we were talking about in the entrance here, along with a Reef Slider on a more reasonable weapon, being that Red, along with a Wipeout, and they are just laying waste to Uowawa right now.
Yeah, Portsmouth really just said, woe be upon ye, rats be in your basement, and then just sent everything and the kitchen sink for this push. They made it to 59. J-Blast has another splashdown ready to go. They have the longevity here, and they pop it out! Arcade's going down, but J-Blast is going down with it, but the damage has been dealt, Sasu. 59 for your first push. Very, very solid here. We'll just have to see how Uowawa will retaliate right now here. We have the Gal who has their Killer Whale ready to fly. The lasers are being brought out here. They're already eyeing a similar position to what J-Blast was trying to do. Arcade's moving in as well here. That's a trade going down. The Dread has a Reef Slider that can immediately cancel out a push here. It goes out, getting rid of that Gal. There's 2 members down on Uowawa here. And already, Portsmouth is already shoring up, making sure that no one can break past mid.
Yeah, very true. But at the same time, Uowawa, much like Turf, I think they both were not doing so well in both of the games that they played for Turf. They were not doing so well at the beginning. And then they just kind of like a juggernaut did a come from behind win. And when it comes to something like a Clams or like, say, a tower, all it really takes is one good push. So we are just past the halfway point. Of course, they have that pity clam. You have Sneaky here trying to make sure they get control of that mid, that they're able to stabilize so that they're ready to go as soon as they have that push ready, no doubt, maybe waiting for that cooler. And this comes out, this Zuka, but maybe not going to find anyone. Two members go down on Uowawa, so I have to imagine it's not time to push quite yet.
Definitely not right now when you're two members down. The Rapid as well as the Roller are going down, and Uowawa is already eyeing a wipeout here. J-Blast leading the charges at 2 Power Clams and a Reef Slider. 2 Power Clams have hit the basket here, and the Clams keep flying in here. Uowawa is now trying to storm the front, trying to stop Portsmouth from getting in. Already a Power Clam being formed by, I think, that Dread here. They will be able to flush J-Blast out here. It's only the Dread left here, and that's a wipeout for Uowawa here. I think they're already poised to start going in because I think that Dread has the crab ready to go here. I think they're already eyeing some forward positions here. That Roller, unfortunately, going down. The crab's dropping, not getting that vantage point here. There's 1 minute left on the clock for Uowawa to take a 30-point lead back, but they have 2 Power Clams here. This could prove volatile if they have everything set up accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. They're really going to have to meticulously make this push because as time goes by, I think Clams more than anything else can just make being on the back foot so punishing. Not only do you have to make up all those points with sufficient Power Clams, which of course make it very obvious where you are on the map, making it all the harder to play, but you're gonna also have to hope that there's enough clams in the clam economy spawning in for you to even get those in. But one by one, members of Uowawa are just going down, and they're gonna have to abandon that clam that was there, as well as a Reef Slider making them go down. 7 seconds left. It's just not looking good for them.
Oh, there definitely isn't, and with Portsmouth getting another wipeout here, just to rub salt in a theoretical wound here, Portsmouth will be taking the third game of the overall best of 5 set. Okay, I'm starting to understand it now.
Where?
Is it third?
Second. Second point.
Yeah.
I think we are now 1-1 in terms of the set. Due to Clams being the first one, yes, but this is an extremely dominant showing, despite losing those 2 Turf War games for that first point from Portsmouth, especially up against the current champions, as I understand it. But it seemed like they were doing a really good job of stabilizing, really good coordination, because one thing about Clams is that if your team is not coordinated, people aren't listening to each other and really, squatting up for that push, you're gonna have a bad time. And it just seemed as though Beach episode really methodical with staying up, getting the picks that they needed, and here you see at the end, what was that, a triple at the end of the day? Double, triple? Ooh,
I'm not sure
Zuka moment.
Yeah, Zuka moment. Even still here, commending Portsmouth's coordination in those pushes were definitely important here. Every time they went in, they came out swinging. They had the tools to clear space and then take picks, and just take no prisoners. They opened with the Reef Slider here. They close out with a splashdown, an explosion beginning and ending a push here, and then just overall consistent longevity with that tent shield and just overall paint coverage. I think with the Dread Ringer with the Dread Ringer and the pencil here. So at least it's now tied 1-1 between Portsmouth and Uowawa. Going into game number 2, it is going to be Uowawa's counterpick for tower control.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to account for the fact that they were up against a really strong blaster, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I said, custom blaster can just pay back in dividends on a place like on a map mode rather, like Inkblot, Clams, but also can be super useful. Of course, it's AoE. Any AoE, especially a blaster, really strong on tower period, but also like God forbid you're on that tower just minding your own business, and then a splashdown is popped on top of it. They're taking everybody down there on that tower. I have done it myself. So definitely Wowawa gonna have to see. I don't think they were running any AoE. They might want to switch to that and counterpick that have something to check that custom blaster, don't you think?
Uawawa did run at least Dreadringer here, and of course
True.
That's in the hands of their key player here, Kidley.
Mhm.
Or yeah, Kildy. It really just depends on how well they can more so execute it, and especially with just how they can have that staying power if they can just use the AoE of the Dreadringer, because Dreadring like if a Dreadringer can cheese you out on the bottom of a ledge or just behind a wall, it is unfightable.
Yeah, it can be really tough, but I have to wonder where they're going to be going here also, because we might see a switch to the Dreadringer with Crab instead. But as much as I've never been a believer of Reef Slider on tower, I have definitely seen some sets and some games that have made me look silly in that regard, where they have somehow managed to Reef Slider the tower, much to my shock, or just people maybe they jump off because they got displaced by one thing, and then boom, all those people who jumped off get caught in this Reef Slider explosion. So definitely going to be curious about that, and whether we see something like a V slosh perhaps with those GG strikes, or any sort of change to weapons that have a Booyah Bomb or something that can very quickly force everyone off that tower.
Mass displacement is always something that is beneficial. That would be something useful to have on a team when it comes down to tower control. It's like you said, anything that can get them off of tower, whether that be tri-strikes, whether that be Booyah Bomb, whether that be 10 missiles on the tower rider in particular here. As long as you can just get them off tower, it allows you just a sliver of time to take that back, clear the board, and just get them off and, cycle back to where you were before.
Yeah, I think that I have been seeing. Ooh, interesting.
Ooh.
We're gonna be looking at Hagglefish Tower, and I think maybe you're hearing those oohs from myself and Frostix, because I at least know this map mode to be incredibly snowbally. Maybe not as brutal as say a ship shape, but ship shape's little brother, maybe.
Ship Shape's little brother.
Annoying little brother. That is maybe not as bad, but bad in its own right. Not to say that this is a bad pick for Uawawa, but more so, if I have the choice to play on this map mode, I will choose no thank you. Because of just how brutal it can be.
Honestly, come to think of it, both Ship Tower and Haggle Tower, they both kind of have a pretty similar, key power position to take into consideration when you're retaking or when you're in the push. I think, obviously, not obviously, I think when it comes to Hagglefish Market, it's that I think top left position that is really close to the first checkpoint here. Making sure that you can control that. Whether or not you're taking back the tower or riding the tower is really important, because if you're riding the tower, getting that position means you just have so much verticality and just like a bonus sneak angle, bonus shark angle. I think I'd imagine maybe say that Roller on the side of Uwawa would love to play there here. And then if you're trying to retake tower, making sure that, of course, just making sure you just don't have a rat in your basement. You don't want to have that Roller there. You don't want to have that Blaster there here. Just ensuring that all your cracks are sealed. So we're diving straight into the action once more. Set something this game too. So let's go into it here. Did you just say Flingza? That is the Flingza.
That is not wow. Okay, let's break down these changes. We're looking at a Flingza, of course, on the side of each episode, a change, as well as a change for Uowawa. We're seeing the new dualies that have the bubble, meaning that they are running a double bubble comp, along with that same rapid for that chip and also for that AoE. We have a quick, oh wow! Quick is right. We have a flank from one of the members of Beach Episode who is able to get 2, if not 3 people down right off rip. So that is going to be possibly a free check for them there on that right, but not before that Gal very quickly sets up but is punished frame 1 just about by that blaster that is willfully waiting underneath. So already lots of points on the board there for Beach Episode.
And that's that power position that I was talking about earlier. We saw the dualies play there here. It allowed at least Uwawa to stay a little bit longer, not allowing Portsmouth to get past that first checkpoint here. We're seeing an isolated duel with these dualies trying to get the flank off, but they're noticed by the Dreadringer. The splashdown coming out from J-Blast, and now Portsmouth is hydrated here. J-Blast is going in. They're called out by the roller. The bubble's been deployed, but a bubble does not matter when you have a Reef Slider charging in. There's 2 members down on Uwawa. The Flingza has the missiles once more, and that's a wipeout for Portsmouth here. That's a bunch of free space for them. Potentially more now that Flingza has the missiles charged and ready to go. There's another splashdown coming out from J-Blast, and the missiles are coming in as well. And now Portsmouth is eyeing that second checkpoint.
Yeah, one of the reasons this can be such a snowbally map mode is because Haggle is just brutal on retake, does not feel good. It's so easy to stagger, and you see already they are going to be making their way through this third checkpoint. And quite frankly, people being me, I often say once you get past that third checkpoint, you've basically had it made in the shade. Same thing for a place like Shipshape. But finally, Rats out of the basement. Uowawa able to get some more control of their own spawn section. That roller definitely being very cheeky, getting punished for it before taking 1 member down. And I think that it's 2 people down for Uowawa. Definitely hoping to make a counter push, but it's looking like it's not going to happen.
Definitely not when you have J-Blast right there here. There's an isolated duel. Will the dualies win? The dualies will take out J-Blast. 1 last rat to worry about here. And now Uwawa is trying to move forward. The dualies going down to, I think, an ink mine, actually. And also, Dude is almost at missiles once more. There's 2 members down on Uwawa. Portsmouth is hydrated once more. We're already halfway through the match here. And Uwawa still needs to make a big impact because Portsmouth pushed it all the way to 12 last push. And Dude is firing more missiles. The pro is, well, not the pro, but the Rapid is already down. And now Portsmouth is back on the tower. There's 2 members down. Arkane's trying to put some damage control. They're going down too. Portsmouth is just not letting up.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a smothering, if anything. It's just everything everywhere all at once. You see, wow, that splashdown, but definitely finishes the job there with Sneaky just on the back end, making sure to very coolly get that cooler nice and calm so that their teammates can push back up and get that unchecked by the other team. But so far, Uowawa only a single point on the board with a minute 20 left. So it seems as though they're losing a lot of their 1v1s. This Flingza just overextending and getting punished by it. With 2 of their members with 2 of their members down, this may be the time to push, but just having it back, that's a delayed wipe on Uowawa.
It looked like Uwawa had something going. They had 2 members down earlier, but then Uwawa suffered 2 members down themselves and a delayed wipe, like you were said here. And it's like it was just for a while. Portsmouth was just running the clock, and now J-Blast taking another dip. This heat wave is taking victims over here, Sasu here. Now Arcane trying to move in with the Shark, but here comes the Shark in form of the Reef Slider. It's an even trade. There's 2 members down on Portsmouth here. Now there's going to be around 30 seconds left for Uwawa to take things back in their favor here. Already getting rid of Sneaky on the pencil. The bubble has been deployed. They have now reached that first checkpoint, but J-Blast is eyeing them with intent to stop here. But right now, Uwawa is already past that first checkpoint, but it's only Mess as well as the dualies, and now it's only the dualies, and now it's a wipeout for Portsmouth here, not allowing them to get anywhere near that second checkpoint here as we enter the final couple seconds of the match here. Running the clock ran them their success, and even when an intercept was inbound, Portsmouth is just relentless right now.
Yeah, and you saw at the end, I believe the roller trying to get in there, see if they could just wipe the tower and maybe get another push going. But you've heard of a GG Booyah. a GG strikes. That was a GG splashdown that happened there, sort of getting rid of them despite several of their members going down, and giving them advantage in this set, really, as they're up 2-1 and now on set point. Here you see a replay with one of the members of Uowawa going down, and yeah, I think that Portsmouth Beach episode was just really relentless. I think this was the push that could have gotten them the game, but while they appropriately put pressure on that top right where people are going to stand and try and take you on, no one may be watching that left ramp where they just sort of got ambushed and taken down.
Yeah, that was that power position that I was talking about earlier. J-Blast was just thriving in there here. They were the rats and were treated with lots and lots of cheese, which is exactly what Custom Blaster can do!
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I have a lot of good Blaster friends who maybe don't believe in C Blaster so much, but it can be extremely destructive in the correct hands, and that's exactly what it is right here. Because I think people always just think about Splatoon 2, and they don't they don't respect the splashdown, but it can be absolutely disastrous for displacement when you just need to be somewhere. You need to be on that tower, you need to be under that basket, and someone pops that and you just have no choice but to take it and go down. So I think that's doing a lot of good work for them.
Definitely so. There just allows them to take space and take fights in angles that in places that you wouldn't even know necessarily here. So kudos on Portsmouth for that, able to just immediately recover from those 2 turf war losses here. Is this isn't like an overall like match like set point, right? Is it like that? Because we're going into game the 3rd ranked mode, which will be zones,
Yes, this is a best of 5. So right now, Portsmouth Beach episode at set point if they're able to get this last game. But Uowawa, I'm sure they've gotten the message that they have to lock in, because Portsmouth Beach episode has gotten 2 pretty decisive wins. Both of those games, not the closest. They've just been keeping them down, winning their 1v1s. So Uowawa, maybe a comp change, maybe I don't know, because when you think about it, this has been on their counter picks, right? So the fact that they have not been doing the best on their own selections means that something here has got to give.
Definitely so. Something needs to just shake up on the side of Uowawa here. When it comes down to zones, of course, it's just all about control on that aspect here, not just controlling the zone in like general. If anything, who won the 2 turf maps? It was Uowawa in that aspect here. And maybe if they could just bring out a lot of the paint that they brought in that turf war, in the turf war mini set per se, that is now what I'm calling it. Sorry to any future casters. This is probably what it'll all come down to here. And we're getting news now. It is going to be on Mako Mart splat zones here. So obviously,
because those stacks are so important, and once you have both of them, that makes it very difficult for the other team to sort of walk on you and take dominance on the zone. And of course, you have that ever important high ground. So we have a lot of AoE in play, like you mentioned, that Custom Blaster, that Dreadringer Roller, and of course we saw a switch to Flingza, right, for Portsmouth Beach episode, if I'm not mistaken. So anybody who is standing on any sort of perch, I imagine we're going to see the Rapid, maybe not necessarily in traditional backline positions, but the Pencil certainly going to have to watch it, because there's going to be a lot of people looking to just chip them out of position.
Definitely so here, but I think Sneaky's just really good at maintaining the space, holding down the line here, and just constantly ensuring that they're out of danger, and also just making sure that Portsmouth can constantly keep being the danger.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to see how this goes. I find that, at higher levels of play, a lot of people are veering towards zones only play. Curious to see if Uowawa may be more well versed in zones. Maybe they're like, we just like to play the ground. That is what we do. That is why we dominated turf, and we're gonna dominate zones as well. Because sometimes it means that other map modes kind of fall to the wayside. But of course, I don't necessarily know if that is what Uowawa does a lot of their practice in. But I feel like a place like Mako Mart Zones is a very specific pick for specific players. I find that, if you just kind of go the regular Gal, Pen, whatever, no AoE, like this isn't going to necessarily be a zones match that you pick. Maybe like a Robo Ramen is a more standard pick. So this feels very specific to their comp and specific to what they're good at. I imagine that's why they picked it.
Yeah, definitely so here. But once again, it's like you said, Uowawa needs to ensure that things are structurally sound here, because one more loss here, and that's another loss. It's another set loss for them here. It does say more about Portsmouth, though, able to beat these the reigning champions, like you say. My words are a little bit. I think my words are starting to get a little bit faulty right now. Even still. We're still waiting a little bit more because our streamer may have disconnected. We're now back into the room. Things will be starting up relatively closely here. Say now, if Uowawa does take Mako Mart here, we're going into we could potentially see a final Rainmaker. So, oh wait, unless this is playoff 5. Wait, is this playoff 5?
I think it's best of 5.
Best of 5. Okay, best of 5.
Yes. So, I think Beach episode, of course, at that game point right now, gonna want to close it off and end it, I'm sure, end the set for the day and say, listen, we can just get these 3 games in a row. And they also have momentum on their side. So we're going to see if they can just close this out. Interestingly enough, we're seeing the return of that Aerospray. They really do have it to paint the floor, I suppose. And a switch back to the Dreadbringer with Crab, as well as looking at the other team. We have another switch over to Kraken Shot, which can be very frustrating if you want one of those stacks. But very quickly, we have Uowawa capping and then a counter cap from Portsmouth Beach episode. So the win condition certainly, whoa! I was going to say certainly going to be to make sure that Dreadbringer stays down, but that's going to be harder yet when Lord here gets a double at point blank range with that crab. Holy heck, Frostic.
Yeah, just a single crab grenade, not just getting rid of one, but canceling the Kraken. But now Uowawa is coming out in spades, the Tri-Strike's coming out from Mess, the Kraken being deployed as well, and Arcade is chasing down Floored. Meanwhile, Dude coming back with the Reef Slider from those Turf War games, immediately flipping the zone, but flipping is definitely one good thing. What you need to do afterwards is have that follow-up, make sure that you can have that staying power here, and Uowawa is just not having any of that, making sure that the flip doesn't go anywhere here. And already, the roller is trying to contest the high ground. It's like what I was saying, making sure you can contest the platform as well, but also contesting the stacks, which is what J-Blast is trying to do as well. Sorry.
Yeah,
anyway.
So it's kind of like, maybe you're downing at the Dreadbringer thinking, let's get rid of the Reslider. And nope, it is the Aerospray. But finally, 3 members going down on Portsmouth Beach episode is going to make it so that Uowawa can just camp under these ledges and make it so that no one feels safe dropping here.
Oh, not just safe dropping, but safe trying to go in here, because that roller did not get a successful push up here, because Portsmouth is already recapping that zone. They have eyes on, I think, one of the shots here. A Mess here, trying to maybe get rid of a potential strikes from Uowawa right now. J-Blast has the splashdown ready to go. Florid is just holding down the stacks with that Dreadringer, already contesting upper platform where the Rapid Pro resides right now, scoping them out. But now Portsmouth, 2 down here. They are still in control of the zone and they're actually ticking down, but it's only Florid left, and that will allow Uwawa to finally get their heads in the game, recap that zone here.
Listen, I know that I said that their win condition was to make sure that that Aerospray stays down, so of course they don't just get like capped back, but I gotta re-emphasize that because it not being on Dreadringer and being on Aerospray, we've all played the Splatfest. They can just get those Reef Sliders so very easily. So even though they go down, give them 2 seconds, they're going to have that Reef Slider back. And the makeup of this zone means that they do not need additional paint from their team members to paint over to cap the zone. So right now you see the strikes are going to come out to try and stop those penalty points from continuing to to paint over. But once again, Aerospray alive, it's gonna do the thing, and it does that very same thing. You see this poor, very unfortunate failing of a jump out for that Rapid there. So members of Uwawa gonna have to lock in and figure out how they are going to make this Aerospray stay down.
Yeah, I mean, especially because I was really just wondering how much subs of special power up does that dude have? It's kind of nuts how they're able to just immediately flip zone. It's like stuff that a Dreadringer would do. And now Portsmouth is within the final ticks here. Uwawa is trying to come in with the strikes, but a Reef Slider from Dude as well will secure that zone, even though it looks primarily green. That's a knockout for the team in magenta. Portsmouth beach episode.
Yeah, wow. Wow is all I could say, because I know if I had to go up against that Aerospray, our comms would not be clear. I certainly would be very upset. Here you see that point blank downing of 2 members who tried to 2v1 on that stack, but they were just met with a crab. And here at the very end, 4 minutes away from taking the set, dude, I'm not even sure if it was the, if it was that special. I think that just those strikes did not come out fast enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, it didn't. Well, yes, it probably would have put the zone into neutral here. It doesn't really matter when the time just ticks 0 here, which then means the end of Uwawa's sets here as Portsmouth takes it 3-1.
Yes, and that was wow, especially after such a strong showing from our reigning champs Uwawa at the beginning of Turf. When it came to the more competitive modes, for whatever reason, just not necessarily able to pick that up. Portsmouth Beach episode was quite dominant in practically every one of those games, so maybe I don't know. Uwawa, of course, this is the 3rd week, so they're gonna have to contemplate that and come back stronger, Frostix.
Oh, definitely so here. I mean, well, they did still have a lot of things going for them. They had the paint necessary. They had a potential, like, tempo. I think they just have to play a little bit faster here because Portsmouth, it's like I said, they're relentless and they take no prisoners here. And they're just forcing Uwawa to play at the pace that they're setting here. So at least if they can try to just stabilize here, trying to just stay calm in the midst of the storm, maybe perhaps even just be the storm that is approaching. So we'll have to see what is still left for both Portsmouth and Uwawa in the coming weeks of NSE.
Yes, but in the meantime, we are going to be taking a break. So in the meantime, be sure to get a snack, unwind a little bit after all that action, and we'll be right back with you with NSE.
And we're back with more NSE League. This is week 3 here for those just joining in. I'm Frostix, joined once again by Sasu, and NSE is a UK University Splatoon league that's been running since spring of 2023. And more about prizing, since we didn't mention that in Block 1, there is no money prize this time. Instead, up for grabs is coveted NSE merchandise, so you just get swag for winning. And who wanted to get swag for winning? And we're going straight into the action, Sasu, here. Up next, the teams that we'll be seeing: Tentacle Nuke inbound and Solent Cardinals.
Actually, that is Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. We can't
Inkbound.
take the time to pass up a squid pun there, but let's take a look at these loadouts. Interestingly enough, there's been a lot of buzz about the mini splatling that has Zuka, but I'm not really seeing it all that much in tourneys, but you do see it here on the side of Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. Already the brush has its special. Azuka coming out already, Luma living that and making sure that they're, at least at the very least, at that time, able to live. But a reminder here, we are looking at turf for these first 3 or so games. So that's why we're seeing a lot of scuffling with not a lot of purpose, maybe, when it comes to doing something specific, because there's not really much to do but get those picks up until the 30-second mark.
Definitely so, but right now Tentacle Nuke is holding down mid very effectively, not allowing the Cardinals to move in anything. Lexical's just farming for that cooler, potentially allowing the Cardinals to start moving in, but still Tentacle Nuke being an iron wall, just holding them off here. Koda's just making sure the brush is just in there, deep into Cardinals territory. We have Geen over here. They are holding down the line as well with the knocked Dapple Doolies, a personal favorite of mine here. I think we're going, almost halfway into this match here with 1 minute, 30 seconds left on the clock. A Booyah Bomb is ready on the side of Solent Cardinals, as well as a Zuka and the cooler ready on the side of Tentacle Nuke.
Yes, but there is a Booyah ready to go for Cardinals. So with that Zuka coming out, we're going to see how that Booyah is used, because it seems as though Luma is just holding on to it for dear life, perhaps choosing to use it in the final 30 seconds, or maybe they feel as though, well, there it comes out, just the proverbial Booyah Bomb, just as I mentioned it. But right now, we've seen a little bit of a change in positions in terms of Cardinals putting in that work to see if they can get the lockout. You see they have a lot of specials. That cooler is going to come out, but the Flingza is the only one alive here with 44 seconds left. So now they don't have a lot of time left to stabilize.
Yep, that now or never is probably playing right now, because there's going to be around 30 seconds left on the clock. Opening the fight with some missiles, already getting rid of Coda on Brush here. Luma, as well as the rest of Soylent Cardinals, are moving in. Withers tried to take the rectangle, dueling with that mini splatling here, but Tentacle Nuke is holding this rectangle like their lives depend on it right now. 20 seconds left on the clock. The Wavebreaker being deployed by Wither already. Luma can't deploy that Booyah Bomb because it's getting cancelled out. The Zook is being fired off by that mini splatling here. Coda's just weaving in and out of fight, and a wipeout, sudden wipeout in the end from Tentacle Nuke here. This map is looking primarily orange, Sasu here, and I think this game is going to come to a close. We can't say anything about this anymore. It's time to see what the cats think.
Well, I have a feeling I know what the cats think. That is going to be a steady, handy win. You can see all the orange there, but even before you see the orange, what you do see is that wipeout with 9 seconds left, and we know how it goes with something like a turf and getting a wipeout, especially if that happens in the last 10 seconds. I would say if the Solent Cardinals were able to get that wipeout with 10 seconds left, they may have been able to take the game. That's just how it goes with turf, and those precious last 30 seconds just being so important.
Yeah, One thing I do want to point out is that Tentacle Nuke's comp right now here seems to be very, very fight focused here. They have weapons that can just pick fights whenever they so choose to. Brush, Dapple, even Mini Splatling here. Those are just really good for just dueling things out here, whittling down the numbers advantage here. Me, personally, I have developed a newfound hatred for brushes. Shout out my team, Critters Inc. for if you know, you know. So that is the first of our Turf War phase of the overall set. The next map within Turf War will be once again on Mahi Mahi Resort.
Yeah, Tentacle Nukes Inkbound going into this with advantage, so they're definitely going to be looking to close off this best of 3 Turf War set here. But interestingly enough, I think that they were running that Rapid, the cooler Rapid, which seems to be a popular pick here in Turf. Perhaps, I say perhaps, I can almost promise you I am not plugged into the Turf meta. I probably simply just don't know what I'm talking about, but I do think it's an interesting pick to have that over Pencil, given that you may be able to get more coolers, more paint down with Pencil. Rapid, known for getting a good amount of chip, but Pencil also gets good chip, right? So picking a backline that has less paint down, less coolers, very interesting, but this seems to be the meta, I guess.
Maybe the meta, especially considering how maybe say that new Rapid could also just dual Pencil as well. It's something that can pick fight against Pencil, whereas maybe say something like the NZAP that that Solent Cardinals was running, as well as Headed, they necessarily can't fare well against Pencil's range. Rapid can potentially match that range as well. So we go into our second round of Turf War. If Tentacle Nuke Inkbound does take Mahi Mahi, they will be taking the Turf War phase of. They will take set point, if I remember correctly, that's how we were calling it back in the first block here. And once again, Tentacle Nuke is already rocking those aggressive weapons here. The Dapple switching up to Wiper. Shout out Wiper's mains, because I'm a Wiper main at heart here. Meanwhile, on the side of Solent Cardinals, we're still seeing, I think, a lot of the same, but Wither switching up to the custom Squelchies here. They're now sporting a set of Super Chumps here. So that could potentially allow the members such as, say, Luma or the Flingza to maybe fight with the Chumps here. The Booyah Bomb is already coming out from Luma here before going down. There's 2 members down on Solent Cardinals. Lexical does have the soda ready to go, so at least those respawning members have hydration going back into the fray. But with an Ultra Sham coming out from that Wiper, things are already looking to be in danger.
Yeah, I love Lexical going back here, making sure, saying, listen, casters, I don't want to hear it about this not being painted. I am going to make this nice and even. But in doing so, Tentacle Nuke, and here are the nukes in question, Inkbound. Definitely have a lot of control of mid. You see 1496 just popping that Zuka, doing a bit of a cute 360, though not going to get anything for it, but certainly nothing lost. Lexical making their way into mid, making sure that paint is down for their cooler as they wait these 16 seconds for a bit of a change here on this terrain.
Definitely so here. I think now Solent Cardinals is starting to break into mid. They're all kind of collected right now. But now Zaid will drop a Tacticooler for Tentacle Nuke here. Already that Mini Splatling is going to get called out by Luma. And now with the water level dropping, that's a sign for at least halfway. We have only half of the match left to go. Tentacle Nuke is already on the scene. Coda has their special ready to go. I think that is a stamp. No, it's the whale here. Cup has the missiles ready to fly. Once more here, a Booyah Bomb is currently being charged by Luma, being tossed down toward the far right of the map, potentially displacing Geen, going down. 1496 also going down as well. And Solent Cardinals are playing this very effectively. They need to chase down this brush, taking them out here. This mid is looking predominantly orange with 1 minute left on the clock.
Yeah, you see that Solent Cardinals definitely being very meticulous about their painting, making sure that they get all of those those corners. I think perhaps that is also part of the reason why they went Flingza. I noticed that after they shut down that brush, they were just rolling over it, making sure that none of the remnants were left in their base. But right now, we are at the 30-second mark, and with a wipeout, absolutely not what you want to see if you're Tentacle Nuke Inc. bound, especially because you want to end off this set likely with this game, since they are at advantage currently and they're about to maybe force this game 3. But right now, I think Tentacle Nuke Inc. bound trying to make their way back into mid, but it's just not going to happen with 3 members down and 4 seconds left. I'm thinking that this game may just be belonging to the Solent Cardinals. We'll see what Judd and Lil Judd have to say.
Let's bring us the overhead here, and wow, look how much paint is in Solent Cardinals spawn here. I think Lexical had a message to send here, like you were saying earlier here, and it's that they can bring the paint and also bring the cooler here, which will allow, which is one part of Solent Cardinals' victory here on Mahi. So we're now seeing a third Turf War match here. The set is even now for the Turf War phase. Whoever wins this next Turf match will take the Turf phase of the overall best of 5 set.
Yeah, like I said, they very meticulously painted and very wise. As much as people have been very low on the Zap lately, I think very strong pick for something like a Turf War. Of course, you want to have all that paint, and you want to get a weapon that gets a lot of use out of their special. You know what I mean? So I think like more paint just means more coolers, which means more teammates up, right? So definitely saying, listen, Zap, you stay back and you paint all of the really annoying corners. Means more paint on the map and makes it way more difficult for Solent Cardinals to have the sufficient amount of paint, especially if they don't have mid completely painted in their color.
Definitely so here. It's like we just saw Solent Cardinals or just take that back by storm once we got halfway through here. Once they kind of like got all of their members together in space, they were fighting together, making sure that they could single out, maybe playing to their ranges, getting rid of those frontline brawlers like the Brush, like the Wiper here, maybe even the Mini here. So now our third zones match is, I say zones, our third turf match will be on Shipshape Cargo Co. So of course, because these are counter picks here, this is
Tentacle Nuke Inc. Bound's choice.
Okay, so that's Tentacle Nuke. Definitely, I can see what they're going for here. Playing fast is what they do here. They are the nuke that is inbound here, and much like a heat-seeking missile, they want to just strike as soon as possible. So taking space here on a map like Shipshape is vital. And what, like with Brush, with Wiper, with Dapple, even with Mini Splatling, and with that Rapid also as well, they can just take space very far ahead and just potentially even lock out the Solent Cardinals, keep them in their birdhouse. We're getting a overall look at the roster here with Tentacle Nuke consisting of Coda, Jaesoon, Danny, Capo, I think that was...
I would argue Jason! Yeah, Danny, Copo, Zima, Mad, Plum Burp, Green Squid 101, 1966 565, and on Solent Cardinals, Wither, Kapapu, Yoshal, very well known in both and just the Western scene in general as a top player. A lot of our things, yeah. Sometimes you just trip over your feet there, but I gotta say, definitely love seeing both of these teams. But fun fact about me, Frostix, my college, our mascot was the Cardinals. So I'm trying not to be a little biased here.
My college doesn't even have a mascot. I don't know if my college doesn't do sports. I go to an art school. Anyways, we're going into perhaps the art school of Splatoon modes. One last turf war to close out phase 1 of the best of 5 set. We're getting a little bit of an extended overhead here. Tactical Nuke, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound still switching up back to the knocked Dapple Dualies. Meanwhile, Solent Cardinals is still sticking with the CDS, so they're still sticking with Chumps on the Squelch Cheese here. Lexical Cup and Yoshell are still on their picks in the last 2 rounds. Already, Coda is starting to move things in. Wither is trying to take their stack, at least controlling it with the Squelch Cheese here, but I think those Dapples have their eyes set on it as well. There are 2 specials ready on both teams, but Cardinals has a lot of potentially volatile specials here. The missiles and the Booyah Bomb. Oh, but Luma's going down early. No Booyah Bomb for Cardinals so far.
Yeah, here you see a lot of those specials going out for Tentacle Nuke, and I find that out of any of the places that look very different on Turf, Ship Shape is definitely one of them. Every time I queue in a Splatfest, I'm like, where is this? So both of these teams, I'm sure, maybe a little bit more used to it, but you already see that's Yoshell going down there on that Stamper, and right now both of these teams just kind of getting paint down, trying to get their picks because they know whatever they're doing now, important to get maybe an early lead, but ultimately not super going to matter until you get to that 30-second mark. But in the meantime, you're definitely going to want to get those picks, and especially in a big place like this, send people back to spawn.
Definitely send people back to spawn right now here. Already, Cardinals are trying to fight on their stack very valiantly. Yoshell's unfortunately going down. These Chumps are coming out from Wither, and Tentacle Nuke is starting to take this stack by storm and potentially eyeing that other one with a direct landing onto Wither. The Zuka's coming out from that mini Splatling here. They're noticing Luma moving in, trying to call out their flank here. Brush is trying to go in. Yoshell won't be gaining any more flanks here, but there is missiles ready. But there's 1 minute left on the clock for potentially Cardinals to take this back because Tentacle Nuke is looking to have a lot of control of the map as a whole.
Absolutely, and I know that the pressure is on maybe for both of these teams, and you see, I think that is their Rapid going down, which is huge. That means they're not going to have Cooler for this fight, especially because the 30-second mark, when you start hearing that now or never, is fast approaching, and you see that Booyah comes out, boxing out those 2 members on the right a little bit, and surprisingly, I don't know where that pick came from that made that Rapid go down, but Tentacle Nuke Inkbound definitely have 3 members down, so that is looking good at this amount of time, but they're going to have to rush, get these picks from these jump-ins, and see if they can get all this paint down.
I mean, getting picks is Tentacle Nuke's game plan right now here. Already getting 2 jump picks going on here. Game is over now. It's time for the overhead and the Cat's decision going into this. That last push from Tentacle Nuke could have been the deciding factor. It's looking pretty dead even now. Cats, what are we thinking? It's in the hands of Tentacle Nuke inbound.
And they almost lost that simply from not evenly painting their base. But I think at the end, having that wipeout, with maybe something in the teens, just under 20 seconds to go, sometimes that's just going to spell death in a game of Turf. I myself have an anecdote where I was doing a 3-3-3 times battle in Splatfest, and we were getting spawn camp the entire time, and we managed to somehow pull out a wipe with 15 seconds left in our spawn, and we won. Simply just from painting up. So literally getting wiped at that time during Turf can just be so lethal and so brutal. And unfortunately, that's what happened during the game.
If no one's there to paint, if no one on the enemy team there is painting the floor here, that just is infinite space for yourself. And even when you don't have a lot of time left in your hands here, it just allows you to get a little bit more paint on your hands here. Paint being splattered on the floor upon every pick here. So now the Turf phase is over. So we're going now into the ranked mode phase of the overall best of 5 set here with Tentacle Nuke taking overall game 1. Game 2, once again, like last block, will be on Clam Blitz. It's time for, I think this is Solent Cardinals counterpick.
Yes, it will be. Seeing as though Tentacle Nuke just got that point. So, interesting to see what they're going to select. Well, I was going to say I'm trying to think about their comp, but quite frankly, they might just completely switch it up for Turf. You see on the screen, these are the possibilities. This is the map pool for each of the modes. Since we are going to be turning to clams, we're looking at a possibility of Scorch Gorge, Museum del Foncino, Inkblot Art Academy, which we saw before on stream, Barnacle and Dime, Crab Lake Capital, as well as Robo Ramen. A little bit less of a conventional pick there, but honestly, most of those pretty pretty solid picks, maybe with the exception of Robo Ramen. So really they can go anything, and I think it'd probably be a solid choice.
Just make sure, if you are Solid Cardinals, I think like one thing I know about dealing with Brush is just playing to their weapons ranges, and Solid Cardinals has a lot of interesting mid-range weapons that can fight against these these just fight heavy weapons like Brush, like Dapple, like Wiper. Here they have the Squelchies, they have the Flingza. Enzap is a little bit more close range, but at least if you can just try to at least paint them out as well, you're doing a solid to deal with those frontline weapons. And the map has been revealed. Solent Cardinals choose Barnacle and Dime for their Clam Blitz match. And one thing I know for sure about Barnacle and Dime clams is that when it comes down to at least getting to the basket and getting a score going, you have to basically win 2 team fights. You have to win one at mid, and then you need to win another one around the clam basket court area here. They're just court is just a very expansive spot on Barnacle and Dime, so you need to make sure you can have that staying power as well. That's really important for Clam Blitz just as a whole, so you can ensure those pushes can at least that the pushes can both land and also stay for a while, which will allow your team to get those points in. We saw the last couple teams do that within Clam's last block. We'll just have to see what Tentacle Nuke as well as Solid Cardinals can do right now.
Yeah, this is an interesting pick. We're having a bit of an extended opening, however, very excited to take a look at these loadouts and whether there are heavy changes now that we're playing a more competitive mode and not necessarily turf. Neither of these teams, of course, unfortunate. We have a connection issue. We're going to see if that is just an issue with our streamer specifically, or if the entire lobby DC'd. Hopefully it is not the latter, so nothing happens off stream. But I was going to sort of capitulate about what the comps were going to be. Was it Soland Cardinals that was running the brush?
That was Tentacle Nuke Inkbound.
Ah.
That brush, the brush which was Coda, is just very consistent with that brush. They were on it for all 3 of the turf modes. And honestly, I see no reason for Coda to switch off of brush in a mode like Clam Blitz. It allows you to both scoop up clams and become the center of attention just with a flip of the switch. It is, I'd say, the definitive rat in the basement.
Yeah, but I also have to give it up for Solent Cardinals. I think that this is a really strong counter pick, knowing that the other team has a brush. On a place like Inkblot, you've played it in solo queue, where somehow a brush is able to get to bats, and they're this weighing here, and it's like, how did nobody notice you? Nobody knows, but somehow an ink brush just got up there, and suddenly you have to worry about 3 jump-ins with power clams because you just lost track of the ink brush, and now they're somewhere you can't reach them. But that is something that happens a little bit less often on a Barnacle and Dime. It is, I mean, it's still possible to lose track of people, but a lot less likely. You're more likely as a brush to get downed before you get into range of that basket. Not to mention, if you have that backline watchfully looking at that court area, then you can maybe just pick them off before they even get close enough. So definitely a strong counter pick, in my opinion, from Solent Cardinals.
info right now, I think, is the name of the game if you are the Solent Cardinals. You just need to make sure you can keep track of where that brush is. Immediately comment out whenever you see it here. Not just that, but don't count out the brush yet here, because they have the Dapple as well as the Wiper, which can which they brought out the player that was on both Dapple and Wiper. They were on both of those within the Turf War. So now we're going right back in to Clam Blitz. We'll just have to see what's in store for us here. No need for an extended overhang. The brush is coming out, and same with the knocked Dapples from Geen. Meanwhile, on the side of Solent Cardinals, the Flings has come off, replaced by the Frozen Pro. Meanwhile, we're also seeing Wither off Squelchies, and now on the Twinkles dualies here, with of course, its illustrious Soda Bomb, as well as Big Bubbler. This could be an interesting switch up to deal with whatever with what Tentacle Nuke will be sending their way.
Absolutely. Definitely Bubble super strong on this mode. I'd actually say specifically on this map mode, of course, Barnacle and Dime known to be huge. So when you have that bubble and people can just jump in and forgo having to make their way all the way across the map, that is going to be huge. And right now already you see that Tentacle Nuke Inkbound on their own plat, trying to see if they can get some chip, get some members down. Yoshell or Luma making their rounds there with their 7 clams. Hopefully they do not go down and lose those before they make that power clam, because Solent Cardinals in a good place to mount their push.
Definitely so right now, but as we're seeing right now, it's a all-out brawl in mid. Luma's going in for more. That was a delayed direct from Yoshell, but right now with a bubble secured and with a power clan coming in, that is a push started from Solent Cardinals. And whoa! Look how much clan they just deposited within the span of a couple seconds, going from 100 to 35. I think they're still going saucy right now here. That's a really strong push for the start of the game. It's only Wither left, but they're being singled out by a Whale and Zuka combo. Cup is holding down mid, but now with Tentacle Nuke immediately storming it out, and with Cup being seen and picked off, Tentacle Nuke will have a lot more space to work with.
This is really the power of that Rapid, you know, that you can just chip people out, force people back, because honestly, I think if this was a pencil, you might have been a little bit more squirrely and said, hey, I can just kind of move out of the way. I believe I can live. But with a Rapid, with that AoE, you're like, hey, take the space. I didn't want it to begin with. Backing away slowly. But as they say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, because Solent Cardinals definitely make their push already with their pockets filled to the brim with clam economy in there. Right now, that flank may be going to get caught. Yes. So Tentacle Nukes Inkbound rather, are slowly moving their way up, just like you were talking about before, taking those fights to see if they can get that push, taking that plat while they get flanked. We'll see if this is going to bear any fruit and allow them to finally get some points on the board more than halfway into the game.
Yeah, we see Coda bring out the stamp, clearing the way for a push now from Tentacle Nuke here. The power clam has come in. The mini is going to throw a little bit more here. They're already trying to take a high ground here, but Yoshell will be able to take them out. But Coda being in prime rush position, getting 2 picks down on their belt, but no one is there to throw in the clams. The barrier's going back up with only 71 points. It's a solid start, but right now you just gave Solent Cardinals a free pity clam to go here. And right now, that's a lot more clams in their pocket. Right now, Tentacle Nuke is trying to hold their ground. Coda's going down before making the jump out here. I think Cardinals are trying to break now into mid from their plats. The bubble's being deployed. The Booyah Bomb's coming out here. The Zukas come out from the mini. Geen has the whales ready to go as well right now here. Cardinals still hold the lead. A very strong 35-71, but Tentacle Nuke have already built a second power clam very quickly here. If they can just get the space needed, they can get the numbers advantage, maybe even better for them. They'll just have to find a way to break past.
They're really going to have to play this just similarly to how Solent Cardinals did when they made their push. They already had a lot of the clam economy on their side, and you see so far maybe just that power clam as well as a few, but they might be able to take this if they kind of segment out their clams uh, a little bit more strategically. Right now, they are tied up, and I think that is 3 members down, but there's still someone on that top right there. So if they're able to throw something in and they are not, that is going to mean that there's just under 30 seconds left, and they have now given them another power clam to work with.
Yeah, right now, Solent Cardinals has 2 power clams being held right now. The missiles are coming out from the Frozen Pro here. Tentacle Nuke has to scatter right now. Already getting rid of Lexical already. There's another power clam ready from Tentacle Nuke here. They're going to have to make things work into overtime right now. Already, Wither's going down. Luma has a Booyah Bomb though. This could prove deadly because here comes that Booyah Bomb. It can obviously charge, or not just charge up, but chop up territory for Tentacle Nuke right now. Halfway through overtime, the Soda has been deployed. Yoshel trying to hold down the space. A power clam won't be coming in. It's canceled out mid-throw, which means Solent Cardinals will be taking the first game here on Clam Blitz with a single point differential.
Talk about clutch. Truly showing off their clutch gene in that moment. You see Luma showing off the deep cut Evo at the end to top it all off, because honestly, if they staggered just a little bit worse, they just would have been done. But some really smart decisions, I think, have given Cardinals the win in this game. From that initial push you saw where they just said, listen, we're going to go to the basket with our pockets just full of clams, get this really massive lead that is going to be very difficult for Tentacle Nuke's Inkbound to make up. But also the holding of the Booyah Bomb at the end there, they could have just said, I'm going to throw it to just displace them, frame one, and that'll be that. But they waited for it, so it was kind of this game of chicken of like, no you that we saw there.
Insane aura farming from Yoshel there, just holding out the Booyah Bomb. Sheer intimidation factor here. So now we're going into the game 2, which will
tower.
Tower control. I think it will be on Mako Mart here as we go into the map forecast. There it is, TC Mako Mart right now. The set is now tied up 1-1 here. And of course, like we said earlier, when it comes down to I'd say not only just Mako Mart, but also tower control, AoE will help you so much right now. Now, when it comes down to, I guess, the comps that both of these two teams are running, I don't think there was a lot of... Actually, wait, I was going to say there weren't a lot of AoE on the side of Tentacle Nuke, but they do have that rapid, which of course can reach those tricky spots on the high ground, like the platform, plat around the first checkpoint area here. Meanwhile, on the end of Solent Cardinals here, I think Stamper can cheese out a couple of the ledges. Same thing with the Wiper on the side of Tentacle Nuke here. But we'll just have to see what is in store here. We have no more time left to analyze Mako Mart tower control.
Yeah, both of these teams gonna lock in. I think we've had a little bit of musical chairs, maybe, in terms of roster, perhaps, with Jason being there. I'm not quite sure. I remember that maybe I'm probably just being silly. I'm old, so my memory's bad. Tentacle Nuke's already losing 2 members right off the bat as the Cardinals get on tower. 3 members, I think, total down for Tentacle Nuke's Inkbound. And right now, they're just trying not to stagger, trying to get those picks, and they do secure that pick from behind. But as that happens, very wisely, members of Cardinals just kind of ignoring all that pressure, and they still are going in terms of points. So really strong push so far, and counting, from Solent Cardinals.
Oh, definitely so right now. Pushing it all the way to 29 within the first minute of the match. Definitely mirroring what happened in that Clam Blitz match here. It's forcing Tentacle Nuke to start maybe acting a little bit faster to try to get that lead back, and potentially even faster than them. Already they get 2 members down earlier. They're eyeing that first checkpoint here. Those Dapples are in there like swimwear, getting rid of Cups. They have their eyes set on Wither right now. Meanwhile, on the side of the tower here, we're seeing Coda trying their best at least to contest the upper platform. Luma's trying to go in as well, but Azuka's coming out from the mini Splatling, getting rid of 2 members of Stolen Cardinals right now. Wither is set up with that big bubbler here, at least shielding them, at least allowing them to rain down a little bit more. Cover fire right now here. I think they're starting to stop Tentacle Nuke right now, but they're getting close to that second checkpoint here. That's where Stolen Cardinals was earlier here already. Luma is going down. Jason will be popping the cooler. I think Tentacle Nuke is still going on. They have 2 picks down in their belts again.
You see, and this is why you have the AoE, but their AoE is down. That S-Blast just not being alive to clear that tower. So this is now going to be their last chance. And I think there's a bit of a dogfight happening, and they do get the appropriate pick that they need to get the tower moving in their position. And despite eating a bunch of bullets, it takes a little bit extra for those dualies to go down. Wither riding that tower, making sure to get them back. But woo! What a lead. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound all the way down to 2. So I'm sure they're trying to taste victory right now, but crazy that all of this pushing has happened and we only just hit the halfway point for Frostix.
Wow, it's only Wither left right now. They're the last player left standing. They do have the big bubbler up on the stack here, but right now I think Tentacle Nuke is eyeing that stack with intent to pick Wither off, and Wither's still there. They have the jump going on, but they're called out by Coda. Coda was just there the whole time, but Coda's been taken out by a straight bomb right now. It's like you said, Saucy, there's halfway left in the match for Stolen Cardinals to practically knock this out. They need to win in order to win right now. Here, Jason is in the midst of the fight here, holding down the line. They spotted out Coda. Coda's already streaming out to the back line. Cup has been taken down right now here, and I think Tentacle Nuke is right back on that tower for another push going in. Yoshel's trying to get a pick onto it, but they're being called out by Jason. I think they're letting more chip onto the high ground. That's just what Rapid Pro can do with its range. But now Jason's going down to Lexical. Lexical's going down to Azuka. It's pick after pick right now here. You need to watch out for this AoE here. Luma's going down here. 1496 is still in a comfy lead by, I think, by the Dapples as well. Storming down Lexical right now. They're outnumbered. The missiles coming out from Cup, but that won't stop Tentacle Nuke from knocking it out, finishing the job.
Yeah, I think that there was a little bit, perhaps, of like not quite respect for that Rapid, especially. Rapid is deceptively strong on a place like Mako Mart. I think that like I used to have a teammate who loved playing Rapid here because it just has so much reach and it's got that AoE. So anybody who wants to stand on top left or exist for any reason
anywhere can just be chipped or
directed and die. So yeah. I think that a lot of the time they were just going down far too often, and you know, how do you clear a tower when 3 of you are dead?
Definitely. Like, what happens when you're just shipped out, you're down on numbers, and your only member left is backed into a corner left to fire off missiles? A knockout is inevitable here, which is exactly what happened within those last couple of seconds on Mako Tower here. So now the set is truly, it's not 1-1 anymore, it's 2-1, if I remember correctly? 2-1
it is. We are going to be heading to zones after this, if I'm not mistaken. Just like we did last time, and that is going to be the counter pick, and I think set point, essentially, right? Because it's best of 5. So Tentacle Nuke at that set point. And we're going to see what Solent Cardinals has up their sleeve for their counter pick on zones.
Yeah, definitely. You need to make sure, once again, you can maybe if you can pick a map that has the sight lines necessary for like your players to play on, even just that way you can just call out those flanks from, say, Coda or from Geen on those dualies as well. Maybe something to just watch out for the mini Splatling Zuka on top of all of that here. the counter pick is always just something to take into consideration. It's another layer of mind games on top of everything that goes on in a Splatoon match.
Absolutely, but last set we saw the team that won turf ended up losing that zone. So even though I feel like turf, the closest to zones, it's very much so paint the floor, get the picks, yada yada yada, if you will. There's still a possibility that, especially having the counter pick in their hands, that Solent Cardinals just says, we're locking in and we're gonna deny you with whatever choice we make, etc., etc. But I'm interested to see. Ah, we are.
Oh,
Oh, interesting. We're going
wow.
to be doing Zones Museum. This is quite the rare pick, and something that you only really see in Zones only tourneys. All that often. I think per game, this is actually my personal team's best map mode, actually, even though it's so rarely played. But I think that I'm wondering how the Rapid is necessarily going to do here, because I think that something like a charger, a pencil, being on that center spinner, I think the positioning is just easier for a traditional backline. So maybe this is to try and throw that Rapid off.
Yeah, definitely throwing that Rapid off is something. That's something that could be good for the Cardinals if they're trying to make sure that there's not that Rapid just isn't there to chip you guys off here. What I'm more, I guess, maybe intrigued in is because we've seen, I think, two, maybe I don't know. I'm not sure if they're like drastically different weapon choices from Yoshell, but they sported Sticker Stamper from like for a couple of games, then pivoted over to S Blast. They both kind of occupy the same niche, but play them in different ways here. So this could potentially be the last game in this set if if Tentacle Nuke Inkbound does take this. We're seeing the return of the dually still on Geen, and Yoshell is on Sticker Stamper, and I think that's Cup back on Flingza. And okay, so this was their turf war comp actually, because Wither is on Squelchies once more.
Yeah, I think that is a good call. Squelcher's, of course, well known for just kind of being in a tickle comp, so to speak. It gets that chip, it's got that range, and I think that's really strong here for making sure that you can get some damage on people. But already, right off the top, that is a delayed wipe, actually. Let me correct myself. Meaning that Tentacle Nuke has already just sort of laid waste to the Cardinals, and they're already on their plat, being those aforementioned rats in the basement, making sure that they can put some harassment on the players. And already, they've made it down to 56 and counting. So Yoshell, Luma here, getting those points, trying to get those picks, but right now, there just hasn't been a change of hands. Tentacle Nuke has an iron grip on mid and the points.
Definitely right now here, they're already closing out of the 20 threshold, entering the 10s right now. Solent Cardinals needs to start moving fast here. The Booyah Bomb is being charged by Luma already. Cup's going down, but Zone is now in neutral here. Cardinals needs to cap this fast, because if Tentacle Nuke takes this back here, there won't be a stop to a potential knockout here. And look at that, they're right back in control here. Geen's moving up here, having the chip damage onto it, but it's only 2 ticks left here. It's predominantly magenta. Wow, a blitzkrieg match from Tentacle Nuke inbound.
Yeah. Inkbound indeed. Wow. And you have to remember that this happened on a counter pick, right? The other team picked this place, and yet they were able to just get through it so far. So they were specifically counterpicked, and they said, nah, we don't have any weaknesses. We've got this. And I think that there was a valiant effort, of course, from Solent Cardinals. I think some really strong fighting here, but it seemed when it came to, I don't know, I saw some strong work on those 1v1s, but maybe it was a speed issue. Maybe they just were I think it's more likely the issue here was staggering, unfortunately. And yeah, they just staggered too hard and they weren't able to neutralize that zone, and that was the nail in their coffin.
Yeah, like, on the topic of staggering, I swear, like, please tell me you also saw this too, Sasu. Did you catch Jason and I think Green just deep closer to Soylent Cardinal's spawn here? The Rapid and the Dapple just there. It's not the weapons you'd expect to be in your
Rat
spawn, but
behavior.
rat behavior. They be in your spawn, and it just contributed to the overall stagger that Tentacle Nuke was going for. Once again, forcing Solid Cardinals to just play to their pace, and that pace is fast. And I don't think, unfortunately, Solid Cardinals couldn't keep up with what they were doing here, which allowed Tentacle Nuke to take it 3-1. There is no need once again for Rainmaker.
Yeah, maybe you've heard all the discourse regarding Rainmaker. Maybe they're just like, listen, we don't want to play Rainmaker. Maybe we low-key throw so we don't have to deal with it. So it could be something like that. But overall, both teams played very strong. Even though this ends in a 3-1, congratulations as well to the strong showing there from Solent Cardinals. But that is going to be it for this set. And I think also it for both of us, Frostix.
Think so, Sasu here. Unfortunately, we won't be casting the rest of this NSE stream. There's still, I think, maybe 3 more sets after this, so that's a combined total of 3 times, like 6? Yeah, it's like 6 teams still to see upcoming, but we won't be seeing them. You'll be hearing from... Let me find the caster list again. You'll be hearing from Conroe and Inquiry coming up next, but this has been me and Sasu. So before we go, Sasu, where can the wonderful people of Twitch chat find you?
You can find me at Sasu in your pants on just about any social media. Blue Sky is primarily where I post, as well as Instagram, etc., etc. Send me a message on Discord. Who knows who? But definitely glad to watch this. But for the people in the chat, where can we find you, Frostix?
Of course, you can find me on Twitter at TK_Frostix, at Blue Sky, below Frostix Blue Sky Social here. Like Sasu said, send me a message on Discord. It's Frostix, all lowercase. And if you do want to support some of my own personal work, you can read my web novel Gap Year on Wattpad. I know it doesn't have a lot of work right now, but it's still worth reading, and it's worth your time, just like these tournaments. Anyways, I think we best hop off for now, because I think Inquiry has been dying to get on mic and call.
Yeah, I had lots of fun. But for those of you in chat who are watching right now, don't go anywhere. Maybe just a little bit. Get a drink. Take a little break. But be back for more sets and more Splatoon.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the NSE UK University Splatoon League Summer. This is Conro, and I am joined for the final match of the Swiss round with Inquiry. Hello, Inquiry. How are you doing?
Hello, Conro. How you doing? And how are you doing all in the chat?
Yeah, I'm pretty well, thanks. Still pretty warm. Anyone in the UK, from all these players right now, we're getting to the end of a heat wave. I don't know what it's been like in mainland Europe, Inquiry, but it's been really hot here. But it's getting to the.
It's cooling down. It's cooling down. I'm from France, so it feels good right now.
Okay, yeah, that's very good to hear. Okay, so this is week 3, round 3. We're going into now of the Swiss stage. Technically, this is the 9th round of Swiss, and we're seeing Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, who we just saw win against Solent Cardinals, and they will be playing against Anarchists. The rosters are on screen right now. So these are the two teams that have the best record in Swiss right now. There aren't any teams that have gone undefeated, but these two teams have won 7 matches and lost just 1. So essentially, Inquiry, whoever wins this is going to be the top seed for the double elimination bracket that starts next week. So a lot of stakes.
So very, very high stake match, of course. So you definitely want to be top seed in a bracket because it gives you an on paper easier run, and at the same time, like going almost undefeated in a Swiss phase is still very cool to achieve, especially since NSE is kind of a unique format where so you have some top players, because like on the side of Anarchists, we have Snipe Z, but at the same time you have people that are fairly new to the game and to the competitive scene. So there are a lot of different levels, and it's always cool to, like, as a mid to low level player, say, oh, I went almost undefeated in a big tournament with top players.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great place for those kind of players to kind of gain experience as well. There's a similar kind of UK location-based tournament that I've been part of before. That was called Squid League, and it's kind of similar because it's location-based. You have top players joining in, but you also get people who play more casually or they're just getting into competitive, and it can be quite interesting to see. Like, quite often it's just down to which team can kind of become the most coordinated in the short time you have, because the top players, sometimes they can only do so much, so it can just come down to who's the most coordinated. I mean, both these teams so far have shown that they are both coordinated. They have played each other once already, I believe, in the Swiss stage, and that was won by Anarchists. In fact, I think they've won against each other. I think this is actually the 3rd match they've had against each other in the Swiss stage. They play 9 matches, and there's only like 14 teams in the Swiss stage, so you are going to get dupe matches, but it's 1 apiece, I think. So yeah, best 2 out of 3 match set these guys are playing right now.
Yeah. Also, let's talk about you've seen the format before, but for those who are just arriving to the stream, the format is a bit tricky. For those who know the EU Championship organized like by Nintendo, you know the format. It's best of 3 of Turf Wars. And this best of 3 counts actually as the first game of a BO5. Yeah,
so essentially game 1 of the whole set is a mini set, best of 3 Turf War, and of course, as you said, the official kind of Nintendo National Championships did it like this as well. So these teams need to win 2 Turf War games out of these 3 to get the first game in the set, and then we go to the ranked modes that most competitive players would be more familiar with. So we get into game 1. I think I saw both Snipes and Nebula on Anarchist side, and those are definitely the 2 players to look out for. 2 very good comp players. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound do have Jason as far as the comp players go, and not too much comp difference from what we just saw from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. We're seeing that new mini Splatling, which is seeing a lot of play because it's got a really good kit, I think.
Yeah, the kit honestly is very, very cool. It has, I think, beacons and Zuka, which is very valuable. Like, it enables you to be kind of a pivot for your team, and at the same time have the range to, get those kills that are very, very valuable. And so it's a pretty good start by Tentacle Nuke Inbound, taking the first kill and having like the first aggression and really taking control of mid.
Yeah, that Ingzuka from the mini was right on cue. Just as you were describing what it was good at, it showed it straight away by just taking down Nebula's crab tank. Having said that, Nebula has just come straight in with a double and helping with the next one as well, taking out all those beacons. And it is Anarchists that are starting to take control of this map with a minute gone.
Yep, a minute gone, and we have, for the moment, pretty good advantage by the Anarchists. But be careful, Tentacle Nuke Inbound with that flank, taking the first kill, taking maybe a second, but getting punished by this Flings the Roller. But for the moment, it enabled them to go very, very far into mid. There's not much Anarchists can do to stop them. Oh, never mind. What a kill by Clone. Maybe securing a second one. At least they secure the mid for the moment, and they keep control of it.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth there in that fight. I really thought that Rapid was going to close that one out, but the other player just got close enough to them, I think, and there were no directs, so they do get the pick. And it's so scrappy right now. Turf War, there are a lot of picks coming out. Rhythm on the bucket, fighting someone on that far side. They're kind of getting outnumbered here, but they're still alive. I mean, they're doing pretty well, but now Anarchists go 2 down. Everyone alive on Tentacle Nuke Inbound, so this is their chance to take a lot of the map back. And yeah, it's kind of switched around. The next minute is all down to Tentacle Nuke Inbound. The BR bomb coming out. They have the caller online. They're going to want to make sure that all the players grab that before going down. They've lost the Stamper, but the caller finally comes out, and there they go. They are going to be able to get that. And this is a massive advantage right now to Tentacle Nuke Inbound, Inquiry.
Yeah, massive advantage. They're losing those dapples, but I mean, not that big of a deal because the players killing him is Nebula, but Nebula is popping the crab, taking a second kill onto the Pro Rapid, but not much going to it, so it's still full control of Tentacle Nuke Inbound. They get 2 splats, maybe a third one, and it's almost a delayed wipeout. Bucket is the last squid standing, and with only 5 seconds left, I think it's gonna be a full yellow and first win for Tentacle Nuke Inbound.
Yeah, I don't think there can be any doubt about that one. That was a really solid last kind of 20-30 seconds. If you want to see how to play Turf War in the last 20-30 seconds, just have a look at what Tentacle Nuke Inbound did there. I mean, as you said, it was like a very delayed wipe. They took out 2 players, and it was basically just Nebula and Snipes both left, and Tentacle Nuke Inbound just kind of collapsed on both of them. They were both in the same spot. And just as the other players were staggering in, you know, they were getting desperate by that point. They had to get back in, but they just picked them off one by one. So, yeah, really good first game for Tentacle Nuke Inbound.
First game, and very, I mean, they played Turf War as Turf War is meant to be played. Like, you can get dominated for the first, 2 minutes. But as long as you stay awake, stay aware of what's happening on stage, and like you get the information on your opponent to enable you to go forward in the last minute, you're good to go. So yeah, most of the time the first 2 minutes are just the 2 teams trying to see like what's happening, what are they playing off of, and get those informations and prepare an answer to those informations.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, up until about the last 30 seconds of Turf War, it can very much change. I've seen a lot of games where there has been one team kind of in charge for the first 2 minutes, but just something devastating happens to them and they lose control and the other team wins it. That is the nature of Turf War. I mean, it's a little bit different to team play, but I do find playing solo, I really do have to focus in Turf War, like in Splatfest, for the full 3 minutes, because you have to watch the whole map. I mean, there is that element to it that isn't in the other modes. So, you know, if you let one player kind of get past you and you don't deal with them at all, it's like it becomes a bit of a conundrum. You know, do you deal with them, or do you just kind of ignore them for a while and just try and like get real control of mid and take out their teammates? Like, there's still a lot of decision making, I feel like, in Turf War.
Because if you ignore them, like they will slow you down a lot in like the last minute where you want to do your comeback. So yeah, keep an eye on whatever's happening on the map, and get ready to to counter. But yeah, and we're going to a completely different map. Like we were on Umami Ruins, which is pretty open. You have a lot of open space, and the map doesn't have much verticality to it. Now we're going on Ship Shape, which is basically the opposite. It's a very, very long map with a lot of verticality. You can go up and down, you have some bridges, etc. And there are a lot of obstacles and way to hide a bit, to cover yourself if you're in a bad position. So completely different dynamic.
Yeah, definitely. I quite like the layout on Ship Shape and Turf War. I actually find it like probably better than some of the ranked modes, actually, because it has those high bits around the spawn as well. You know, I kind of wish they would have them in some of the ranked modes, but we did actually see this. I believe we saw this in the match that Tentacle Nuke Inkbound just played, and they did win here. This is Anarchist's counterpick, so Tentacle Nuke Inkbound probably don't mind this because they literally last match won here, but it is Anarchists that have to win 2 Turf War games in a row now to claim this first point in the whole set. And has there been any change in the comp? We saw a bucket someone had a bucket in the last game.
The bucket got switched with this Platinum Wiper, I believe.
Yeah, it was Rhythm. Yes, it was Rhythm on the Slosher. So they've changed to the Wiper with Ultra Stamp and Torps. Going to be a little bit better to spot where the other team is. And yeah, we just see one teammate on each team painting spawn and everyone else just rushing to mid and getting involved in fights straight away. Someone's taken top left on Anarchist there. Rhythm can't quite get in against the Whale. And there is a fight on mid. Oh, a double with the Trizuka. So that is a big chance for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound to take control early.
Yeah, take control early, but be aware of the bottom left side, because they are coming back very quickly on the side of the Anarchists. There are like 3 people on the right side, including Rhythm, which is probably the most dangerous player if you look at the different weapons they're using. A Wiper can do so much heavy damage to your team if they are in a great position.
There they are. The Wiper drops down to the other side to cause a little bit of a flank there. The caller is out for Anarchist. Clone just trying to stay. Whoa, what happened there? That's suddenly 3 people down for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. I'm not entirely sure where that came from, really, but they're trying to jump into the beacon, although they're on the back foot again already, so it's kind of a secondary wipe, and now they're getting a bit staggered. They're just going to have to reset here halfway through the game. They're all coming out of spawn, but there's plenty of time left here.
Plenty of time left, but they really need to plan their attack if they want to do something like that will do the job. You can't just rush in for the moment. The Anarchists have the specials. We saw the Inkstorm, we saw a Hammer, but that one, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound got the Booyah, got the Zuka, and now it's time to go forward, but only now.
Yeah, 2 players down for Anarchist there. Out come the missiles. They're being driven a little bit back by the missiles, 2 of them, so they're not going to be too fast getting back into mid, and they have lost, I believe that's Jason on the Stamper, the new Embers Stamper, so they go down. They're going to have to jump back in. A lot of pressure. That was a point-blank Zuka, I think, coming out, and they do get the pick and stay alive, so nice work with that special. Snipes is being stopped by the BR bomb. I think Snipes is trying to hide. And I mean, somehow Snipes is alive. I don't know how. Jason runs away as well. Yeah, Snipes jumps out. Okay, I mean, it's mayhem. It's mayhem. 30 seconds left and it's 2v2. What is happening?
Yeah, Rapid a bit in a situation here against a Note and a Zap. That's not where you want to be. And with 20 seconds left for the moment, the Anarchists seem to have the upper hand. The Tentacle Nuke Inkbound are coming in hot, very, very hot, and they are taking space, taking control of the mid, and yeah, just choking Anarchists. But no, it's a -3.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think the Rapid did a job. Oh, it's very close. I think it's the Anarchists. Yeah, it is.
Oh,
the Anarchists.
it is.
And with a pretty huge gap. I mean, 10%.
Yeah, it didn't
Looking at the
look like 10%. Looking at the map, it doesn't look like 10% to me.
Yeah,
But
doesn't look like at all.
yeah, but it was very messy. You had opponent ink on both sides. We were watching the last player alive on Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, but I think while they were doing some work, everyone else got splattered, and I think someone on Anarchist probably went to their side of the map to paint a little bit as well. So it's 1-1 in the Turf War set, which it kind of means the best of 5 set just starts from here. There'll be one more Turf War game. Whoever wins it wins game 1 in the entire set.
Mm-hmm. And let's see where we go, because it's it's a counter pick, so we don't know yet the given map. As you have them on the screen. So we played on Umami and Ship Shape. So we have Robo Ramen, Humpback Pump Track, Mahi Mahi Resort, and Hagglefish Market. But given the fact that 2 maps were banned, I don't know what we will see.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what Tentacle Nuke Inkbound might go for. This is their pick because they just lost the last game, of course. I feel like with their comp, a lot of these could. I was thinking Hagglefish. No, I was thinking Hagglefish.
I was thinking Hagglefish, but we are going to Humpback Pump Track.
Humpback, yeah.
This is an interesting map. Very interesting, actually. Because we were talking about verticality on Ship Shape. This is another style of verticality because there are a lot of slopes. It's not like edges and plats. It just slopes everywhere, and that's why rockets and blasters are so good on that map.
Yeah, definitely. When I saw the map come up, I meant to say I was thinking Humpback, not Hagglefish. I got the names of the maps confused.
I was thinking Hagglefish, to be fair.
Yeah, but I was thinking. I know Jason does tend to play buckets as well. I don't know if they actually play Tri-Slosher. I mean, I really like Tri-Slosher here. I just play all the buckets, but even if they just play the normal Slosher, it'd be good here as well. Or they could maybe stay on the Stamper. I mean, Humpback is really good for buckets. The main thing I kind of like here for Turf War is it gets really interesting because you can flank the whole way around. The whole, it's just a massive circle the whole way around. So it's you do tend to get a lot of really chaotic Turf War games because you'll get people just going around the sides of the map, getting into their spawn, just flanking as much as they can. Let's see. Coda might have that plan with that brush because, of course, you can move a lot faster with the brush, and they've been decent on the brush from what we've seen. You know, they do like the ink brush.
Yep, they do like the ink brush, and they're going with it. And we still have a Rapid Pro, which is unusual on that map. Most of the time, you don't want to have like as much range at this because it's really easy to hide from a backliner. And for the moment, we are seeing Rhythm and the Flings that roll a bit on a situation on that right side, and neither team really took the turf completely. Maybe the NX, but for the moment, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound just jumped right into mid to take control.
Yeah, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound have the mini player in at the middle, pretty much the only person that went to the middle of the map, and that's fine for them because they have plenty of turf to paint and they will just farm out those Trizukas as that mini Splatling does. And Anarchists kind of on the back foot, they've lost Rhythm there, and the other player is getting chased and they go down as well. And I think Snipes and Nebula are both just coming out of spawn, so yeah, Tentacle Nuke just making sure they set up mid, which is of course a crucial component on this map in any mode, and Turf War is included because at least from the middle you can easily spot people going on the left and right as well. Nebula's got 2 players here, and they're so good on the Nautilus. They get them both. -3. Jason, I think, is the only one left on the Rapid, and they get taken out as well. So kind of a delayed wipe, and now Anarchist's chance to push the other side.
Yep, Anarchist's chance, and Tentacle Nuke Inkbound are not in great shape for the moment. They are being completely held off in their spawn. We have the Nautilus with Rhythm going forward, but getting punished right after the missiles are up. Yeah, kind of dispersing the defense. And it enables Nebula and Snivy to go on that right side. Clone is jumping, and Rhythm with the Wiper was the only squid on mid. Coda with 1 kill, but getting punished right after, but followed by Green. Can they do something? No. And that's a -3.
Oh wow! I don't know if anyone else was checking Nebula's position on Anarchist's side. That is just someone you don't want Nebula to be able to set up there on that Nautilus. Jason tried to fight them, but they got taken out as well. But Tentacle Nuke Inkbound have done the right thing here to try and just collapse on the other side and go around that way. But they're still losing too many players, I think. It's still very much Anarchist for now. 30 seconds left, so this part is going to be crucial. Coda has the Whale online. All of Anarchist the mid. The Whale is up, and this is where Tentacle Nuke Inkbound have to make a play. There's the caller as well. No picks coming out yet from either team. There's got to be some, I think, from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. Otherwise, they're going to lose this. Coda taking on Snipes. They've lost 2, and that could well be game at this point.
That could well be game. Green getting splatted. We've seen the Rapid getting splatted too, and that's going to be full blue. The Anarchists take game number 3 of the first BO3, and so they takes game 1 of the entire set.
Yeah, so the whole set, Anarchist essentially win the Turf War mini set 2-1, and overall they're 1-0 up, and that was, in terms of score at least, that was the biggest margin we had in Turf War. That was over double, I think, what Tentacle Nuke Inkbound were able to paint, and
It was pretty quick cut.
Yeah, when Anarchists got set up there, they were very difficult to deal with. And yeah, solid work from them, as we expect to see from a team that has pretty much two top UK players on it. I know Nebula doesn't really play much anymore. I did mention this last week when I was casting, but they're essentially the only reigning UK champion in the tournament. They did win the Nintendo UK Championship. Yeah. I don't know how long ago that was now. 1 or 2 years ago. It was. Yeah, 22. Okay, there you go. 2 years ago. But they haven't lost their ability, especially on Nautilus. That is their main weapon. And yeah, still love to see them just shredding on that thing. And we saw that in the last game.
Nautilus is an amazing weapon to see. I mean, it's kind of a weird because it's always been good, but never full meta. But seeing a note doing their job is always so cool. It moves around a lot. It gets some pretty quick kills. It has a charge. You can, great mobility, everything.
Yeah, I agree. I always, I feel like Nautilus is just one of the weapons I always really struggle to fight against. It's like, I feel like good Nautilus players, they just always have charge. It just feels like they always have charge. Yeah, and then they just move a bit, they climb up a wall, and they still just have charge. And of course, they have the range as well. There's quite a lot of range on that weapon, so it's a weapon where you really have to think about how you fight a Nautilus because it's not easy to go against. So Tentacle Nuke Inkbound do have the counter pick for game 2, which is Clan Blitz, and we are going to Scorch Gorge.
Yep, we are going to Scorch Gorge, so very open map. You have to keep an eye on if anyone's below your ledge, you're kind of screwed because they can do a lot of damage here. They can basically prevent you from dropping onto mid and taking control of it. So keep an eye on below your ledges and basically just take some space. You don't want to be restricted to an area on Scorch Gorge. You want to take up the space. You want to move around a lot, and that can probably bring you a win if you play correctly.
Yeah, yeah, definitely on Scorch Gorge. I mean, I'd say that there's not one way to the basket. There is, of course, two, but one way is the Grates, which is a very kind of high risk route to take. But it's something you've always got to watch out for because you do get players, flanking across there and setting up just to cause a distraction. Because the area near the basket it's a bit of a choke point, really, going up that ramp. I'll be interested to see if we have any bubble weapons. I don't think we've really seen any in this set so far, but I do quite like it here. Well, they have none. And Jason is Jason on the sniper right there, the pencil? Yeah. All right.
I don't know, but we do have a tent umbrella, which is unusual, but always a very strong pick on those kind of maps where you have a choke point to the objective.
Yeah, definitely. So 2 players with beacons, so they have the option of 6 squid beacons. This Tentacle Nuke Inkbound with the mini and the tent both having them. Snipes has switched to the new rapid with the cooler. So yeah, the two quite probably the two most popular kind of caller backlines now that we've got the new Rapid and of course the Pencil, which has never gone away. Coda on the brush in Clan Blitz, very much expect to see that. They have a power clam, and they're just going to try and be really distracting on that brush. If there's any weapon you want to be running across the grates for a distraction, it would be the ink brush.
Yeah, definitely. Green on that right side with the Tentabra and the vacuum, where I didn't see like which set it was, but it is the set with the vacuum, so more protection, so why not? After all, I mean, it enables them to take the first clam and the first push. 71 points left. I feel like the push is ended now, with a great defense from the Anarchist. But they still need to go back to mid and take control of it, because for the moment it's very orange.
Yeah, they got 29 points. Jason and Coda both kind of doing the smart thing there, just to back up and wait for the teammates and reset the push, because they still have quite a lot of clams here. They can quite easily get another push going. Jason on the pet, almost getting taken out by that Zuka, has to back off. I have to say, I don't think I've ever seen Jason play Sniper. I only really know them as a bucket player, but they're doing pretty well on it. They are kind of the they do kind of double as the coach for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound as well, with the comp experience they have, and just a lot of fights happening mid. I think I've seen a lot of FFU stalemate kind of games on this map in NSE as well. I mean, I think on another game, this score might actually win the game, but we'll have to see. I mean, Anarchists still don't really have anything set up. They have some of the map, but they just don't have the clams right now.
Yeah, don't have the clam, and they're getting splatted for the moment. The Anarchists on that right side, they have full control of it. As you said, no clam, but they can still build up the economy if they can keep this pressure up. Be careful about that flank. We have a brush flanking on top mid. It has been seen and just can't do much. The power clam is inside the basket now, and 1 kill, 2 kills. That's open, but they need more clams. They need to pop them inside the basket now.
And Snipes is able to keep the push going. That was a lot of good splats, and it just about pays off. They're going to jump in with a power clam as well, so suddenly it's down to 39. The Zuka coming out. Nebula's going to hide under the wall, and they have more clams coming in as well. Anarchists get the score down to 30. Is Clone going to be able to put more in? I think they're not going to go for it. They're going to back up and regroup with their team. But that's, I mean, they don't really need to go for more there. That's a pretty solid lead. 41 points ahead. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound have the little penalty score to go through as well. So yeah, really good push from Anarchists there.
Yeah, really nice push. 30 points left, as you said. And now Tentacle Nuke Inkbound need to get another push rolling, or they're losing this game, and they are going to match point, which isn't a great position. But for the moment, Anarchists are still pushing, still maintaining that pressure. Rhythm getting splatted by that Zuka, and only one squid standing, which will enable Tentacle Nuke Inkbound to take control right now. They definitely need to push back.
They definitely do. They do manage to get back in, but Nebula was just being so threatening on their side with the Nautilus again for ages. That is the player they're really going to need to take out here, because they're struggling to deal with that Naut, and they do go down, but Tentacle Nuke Inkbound have now lost 2 players themselves as well, so they're not going to manage to get too much of a push. The Tent trying to push up. Snipes just about wins that one. The Zuka going to come out and try and take out Snipes on this right side. Not able to, and Snipes jumps out. They have just a very solid kind of anchor composition here, Anarchist, with the Rapid and the Naut, and 2 really good players using them. So Tentacle Nuke Inkbound have it all to do. The VAT comes out, and this is really where they have to, you know, coordinate with these specials to get the picks. And they're just not. They're 2 down again. They're 3 down.
That 3 down, almost 4 down. Yep, delayed wipeout. The only squid standing is Coda with that Ingrush, not gonna do much alone in defense. So Anarchist are in a great shape. 10 seconds left. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, they have a power clam. They still have the pity clam from Anarchist's last push. But the overtime isn't long, so they have to rush a bit and pace it up.
They do. There's about halfway through overtime. They really just have to rush the other side by now, but they lose the brush, so they lose a lot of speed. The VAC is out, and they really just have to go with that. And
no time.
not quite able to. No time to get it in. Anarchists go 2-0 up in the final match of Swiss. One more game, and they will top the league.
Yep, exactly. One more game, and what a dominant one. I mean, they let one push slip away through that defense, and not much more. Like they continue to take the pressure. They lost some players sometimes, but never. They were never in a state where it was a complete wipeout and complete disadvantage for them. They kept it together and held their ground.
Yeah, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound did get the first push. It looked like they were doing quite well at the start with the kind of special coordination. They had the the vacuum up, which helped with the push at the start to get the points. But Anarchists, once they got set up, it was kind of similar to that last Turf War game. They were just, it just took so long to get them out, and they just kept getting picks and kind of staggering Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, which really delayed their time just getting back in. And yeah, they were never quite able to get all the picks they needed to get another push going. So Tentacle Nuke Inkbound 2-0 down. They now essentially have to reverse sweep and win 3 in a row to take this match. And Tower Control, I believe, is next, and they're going to have the counter pick again.
Yep, and what do we have in Tower Control? We have Eeltail. Oh, never mind.
It might not be Tower, actually. I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, but we have a few maps, very different ones. I mean, the map list is pretty solid overall. You have a lot of maps to choose from, a lot of different layouts, of different map styles. So I believe we'll keep seeing a pretty open map. But maybe given the fact that it didn't work very well for them, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound will try to switch up a bit. That's a great question, a great if. And what's going to be important is also what Anarchist decides to ban.
If they can ban it. Are they allowed to ban anything?
I think so.
Well, there you go.
Hey, we're going to Hagglefish Market.
Graphics decided for us. It is Tower Control, and they will go to Hagglefish Markets. Yeah, an interesting one for Tower Control. I always find, like, when you're pushing, you just have to clear that top right area through the first or second checkpoint. I don't remember which checkpoint it is now, but yeah, if you get set up there, you can probably snowball and get quite a lot of points.
Yeah, I mean, first checkpoint is kind of free. Second one it's the second one that goes below the tent, which is a very, very important checkpoint, as you said, because it's one of the hardest to go through. But once you're done, you have a pretty clear path through the third checkpoint and through the end. The checkpoint is always very hard, but I mean, on that map you won't see a KO very often because you're quickly just below the spawn. So defense is up very, very quickly, very easily.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Tentacle Nuke Inkbound changed their kind of competal, because I think Jason just seems to be playing the backline this game. They played the Rapid and Turf, and they've just played the Pencil. Will they switch it up and go to Slosher, as I know Jason more for, and it has triple link strike, of course, which can be quite handy in Tower Control as well. But let's see, because Tentacle Nuke Inkbound on the back foot. They are 2-0 down against Anarchists, who have so far proven to be the best team of the Swiss stage of this tournament. And as soon as the game loads in, we'll be able to see the comps. It's taking a while.
Yeah, games have been taking a while, and we have some very similar comps. I mean, I think it's the same for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. And the Anarchists, that's a change. Going to S-Blast and Bucket, so Rhythm dropping the wiper for Bucket and Nebula dropping Notes, I believe, for S-Blast. That's interesting.
Wow, yeah.
Because there's a lot of AoE. There's a lot of AoE.
a lot of AoE, and it's quite, you know, aggressive as well with the S-Blast, the bucket, and the splatter shot. And of course, you've got the caller on the rapid as well. But it is Tentacle Nuke Inkbound that have started better here. Jason's gone back to the Stamper, which we saw them on earlier, with Booyah. They do seem to be favouring this weapon right now. Very solid kit on the new Stamper, as all the Stampers have. The Whale coming out. 2 players sat on tower. I'd imagine one of them is going to jump top right. Never mind. What just happened? Tentacle Nuke Inkbound just got devastated by special weapons there. That is a wipeout, and they don't quite get through that second checkpoint.
Yeah, that was a very solid start by Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. I mean, taking the first checkpoint and making it halfway through the objective. But yeah, once the first checkpoint is gone, it's easy to defend as you go just under the tent, as I said in the beginning. So yeah, the anarchists were able to launch all their specials and take back that tower, but for the moment it's back to neutral position, and no team really have an advantage and a way to push. But it may be changing right now because the anarchists are doing a great job at pushing Tentacle Nuke Inkbound from mid. But never mind, commentator curse.
Yeah, a lot of players going down for Anarchist there. Coda coming back in with the brush. The Zuka coming out as well. Nebula just about able to get away from that. They got hit twice, but partly thanks to the armor as well, they live. The BR bomb gonna come out, so there'll be no pushing that tower for now. 2 BR bombs coming out on either side. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound still holding it around there. They've lost 2 players, but they're probably just going to try and push this a little bit. Green, the Whale comes out. They're just going to try and stay alive with the Dapples. They've done a good job there of getting top right. Probably going to get some jumps as well. And they actually lose the splatter shot anarchists, so they lose 2. There's 2 players up there. They're going to get pincered either side here. This is good work from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound to really pincer the anarchist players. They lose 1. They're starting to lose a few players, but it's not too bad. It means anarchists weren't quite able to get a push off that, and it's kind of reset to neutral.
Yeah, the kills were a bit sparse, so there were always like 1 or 2 players in position to defend and yeah, kind of stop the push. For the moment, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound are still pushing, still getting the pressure up and not letting the anarchists set up the gameplay, because we've seen on the previous games, once anarchists have the gameplay set up, there's no stopping them. So if you don't let them prepare and don't let them attack, you're pretty much good to go, and that's what Tentacle Nuke Inkbound are doing right now.
Yeah, they're definitely just like staggering anarchists enough that they don't get a push, but now they've lost 2 players. But then, well, suddenly it's 1v1. Suddenly it's the Mini versus the S-Blast, but Nebula is able to stay on tower, and they are going to get jumps. So that's going to be quite important for Anarchists to turn this around and get the lead. Nebula has to try and stay alive, and they do. They are going to get the BR bomb out, but the Zuka comes out, and now it's just Nebula, and now it's no one. That is a wipeout on the side of Anarchists. Really good defensive work from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, and they're going to possibly get a chance to flip this over. They do lose Jason, but yeah, that's still the lead to them.
Yeah, still the lead for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. They have a pretty solid lead. I mean, there's no checkpoint between their lead and the Anarchist push, so it can be quickly overridden. But 1 minute left, and they have full control of the mid, so I don't worry too much about them. Koda took a great kill, and that's like 1 kill versus 2. So yeah, another push. I don't think they need to push as long as they keep the pressure on and they hold their ground onto mid, like between mid and the spawn.
Yeah, definitely. They were finally able to have 1 person on tower and 1 person go top right. It didn't quite work out, but they're still trying to just push this for points here. They get 1 more point here. They've pushed it to 46. They have to step off tower straight away because of the triple link strikes, and Jason goes down to a bomb. I believe that's a double for Rhythm on the bucket. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound on the back foot. Anarchists, they're going to have 1 push here, and it's definitely going to be in overtime if they want to get it done. Jason and the Mini just holding ground here. I mean, they're going to get a push at least.
They're going to get a push, and for the moment, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound are just jumping one after the other, offering kills to the Anarchists. That may be it. There's no stopping them. There's no stopping them, and
there
it's
isn't.
gonna be... No, it's not!
Oh, no, it isn't!
They got
Oh,
the
no,
lead.
yes, it is.
Oh, wow. What's an end of the game?
Oh my goodness. Well, the end of that kind of summarized the whole game because there were just specials coming out. It felt like constantly all game. We saw what felt like 10 Zukas for both teams from the
Oh,
mini
don't take
and
it.
the shot. Yeah, I think it was maybe left as a 2v1 or a 1v1 at the very end, and someone that was pushing up for anarchists near the top right kind of tent area just had to go back and get on tower at the end.
Yeah.
And then it was done. What an insane last game from the anarchists. They were losing for most of that. Tentacle Nuking Bound looked so good, but I think just for that last push, they got staggered a little bit. And yeah, there was no one near the tower at the end to save that. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, crazy match, and that's gonna be a dominant trio by the anarchists. It doesn't quite reflect what we saw on last game, but they deserve it. They were completely dominant in the last two turf wars and in game number 2. So yeah, deserved win, and so they go 8-1 in the Swiss bracket, which makes them top seed.
Yes, it does, and I think it's well deserved from anarchists there. I think they only lost one match in the first week, and I don't think Nebula was around then, which may have been part of that because every time we've seen Nebula play, they've just been shredding everyone. Yeah, Nebula with Snipes. I mean, I think they've got quite a lot of experience playing with each other and against each other as well. So, playing against both of them is a tough task, and nobody's proven to beat them yet. Along with their teammates as well, who did very solid in all of those as well. Just good coordination from everyone. They didn't give up. They were down in that last match, that last game, and they managed to turn it around in overtime. So yeah, it's a 3-0, but definitely some close games to be had there.
And before we close it up, because that was our last set, Conro, where can we find you on the different social medias?
Yeah, so on Twitch, I'm just Conro, Conro, and on Blue Sky, it's Conro with an SPL after. And where can they find you, Inquiry?
It's written on your screen. Just type Inquiry22. You'll find me pretty much everywhere. Whether it is Blue Sky, Twitter, Twitch, even YouTube. I'm trying to set up a content channel around in-depth analysis. It's coming in hot. I'm working on it, so if you want to check it out, feel free to do it. And that's where we're going to end it. So thank you a lot, Conro, for being here with me. Thank you, Joe Ryan, for being our amazing observer and streamer. And thank you guys in the chat for being with us.